You know the posts I'm talking about, right? Good vibes only, stay positive. But what happens when that relentless pressure to just be happy actually starts doing more harm than good? Okay, let's dive into the surprisingly complex world of toxic positivity and uncover the real damage it can do.
We're going to start with this quote from an employee named Anna. Imagine this. She's in a workplace where everyone is stressed, people are leaving, but the official company line is that everything is fantastic. And that last word she uses, dystopian, that really hits home, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that bizarre, unsettling gap between what's really happening and the positive story you're being told. And that gap, well, that's the heart of what we're exploring today.
All right, so let's actually pin this down. What's the line between genuine, healthy optimism and something, well, toxic? It's a really crucial distinction, because being positive isn't the problem here. It's the denial of everything else that's the real issue.
So here's the textbook definition. It's not just about being a little too cheerful. The key words to focus on are excessive promotion and how it dismisses or invalidates what we're actually feeling. It's this rigid belief that we have to have a positive mindset no matter the circumstances, which basically just silences any feeling that isn't happy.
So how does this play out in the real world? Well, researchers have broken it down into 4 key features. First, it always kicks off with a totally valid negative feeling, like stress after a bad day or grief when you lose someone. Then comes the unreasonable part. Someone tells you to just be positive. And here's the toxic core. Your real feeling gets dismissed, ignored. And that dismissal, it's not harmless. It can lead to some very real psychological damage down the line.
But here's the thing. This pressure, it doesn't land on everyone equally. It turns out this isn't an experience that's shared 50-50. When you start digging into the data, especially from the workplace, a really clear and pretty troubling pattern starts to emerge.
I mean, just look at these numbers. The difference is, wow. In one workplace survey, only about 17% of men said they'd experienced toxic positivity. Now compare that to a staggering 60% of women. That's not just a little more, that's more than 3.5 times as likely. This isn't a small gap. This points to a major systemic issue in how we expect different genders to show up and express their emotions at work.
And this quote right here, it just nails the issue. It shines a light on a leadership style that completely shuts down any kind of criticism, but then turns around and demands that everyone be more positive. You see the problem, right? It creates this impossible feedback loop where real problems never get fixed because just bringing them up is seen as having a bad attitude.
And this really shows you the personal toll it takes. The unspoken rule is, be a robot, be a problem-solving machine that never shows any emotional strain. And if you do get stressed or face a setback, well, you're supposed to deal with that on your own time, off the clock, where nobody has to see it. It's just completely unsustainable. Who can live like that?
Okay, so what's the real cost here? What's the psychological price tag? This constant pressure to perform positivity isn't just annoying. It has a measurable and, frankly, a pretty serious impact. We're talking about moving beyond just hurt feelings and into the territory of genuine mental health consequences.
Think about it like a pressure cooker. You can only bottle up powerful feelings for so long. And when you're constantly forced to suppress how you truly feel, research shows that pressure just builds and builds until it finds a way out. It leads to more psychological distress, more anxiety, and you actually become less resilient over time. It creates what psychologists call emotional dissonance, that huge, exhausting gap between what you feel inside and what you're showing on the outside. And that, my friends, is a fast track to severe burnout.
And if this goes on for years, well, it can even contribute to a clinical condition called alexithymia. What that basically means is if you spend enough time being told your negative emotions are invalid or wrong, you can actually lose the ability to identify and even talk about them. You essentially become a stranger to your own inner world.
But it gets even deeper, and honestly a bit more sinister than that. At its worst, toxic positivity isn't just about managing your feelings, it's about manipulating your sense of reality.
This brings us to a really powerful idea, even if it sounds a bit academic at first: epistemic injustice. It basically means you're wronging someone, not just as a person, but specifically in their role as a knower, as someone who is capable of perceiving, understanding, and talking about their own experiences and reality.
And that's where this whole thing connects to a word you definitely know: gaslighting. When someone consistently tells you that your accurate, valid emotional response to a situation is wrong, that's exactly what they're doing. They're suggesting that your perception of reality itself is flawed.
Yeah, as one philosopher, Sinead de Rijk, puts it, this kind of thing makes you start to doubt your own ability to see things clearly. It's a really profound attack on your own self-trust. The message isn't just, hey, don't be sad. The message is, your sadness is an incorrect response to what just happened.
And this is what starts happening inside your own head. You begin to second-guess your most basic, fundamental reactions. Is my grief wrong? Am I overreacting to this stress? Did I totally misread that situation? It just slowly chips away at your confidence in your own ability to navigate the world.
Okay, so after hearing all of that, it sounds pretty bleak, right? But what's the way out? What's the alternative? Well, the good news is that the opposite of toxic positivity isn't just relentless negativity. It's something much healthier, much more sustainable. It's authenticity.
I mean, just look at the difference side by side. The contrast could not be more clear. In one culture, where you encourage open expression, you see lower burnout and higher productivity. In the other, where you suppress emotions, you get the total opposite. High burnout, tons of that emotional dissonance, and a real stigma around asking for help. It's like two totally different universes, right?
And just to be super clear, the goal here is not to just be negative all the time. It's about emotional authenticity. It's about making room for the entire spectrum of human emotion, the good, the bad, and everything messy in between. It's about looking at reality, not just slapping a fake smile over it.
And the great thing is, there are real, actionable things we can do to build this. We can put programs in place to teach emotional literacy. We can create workplace policies that are built around psychological safety, where people actually feel safe enough to be vulnerable. And, this is a big one, we can train leaders to validate feelings instead of just dismissing them. It's all about shifting the focus from controlling emotions to actually understanding them.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought. Our culture, it's pretty obsessed with chasing happiness. But if that chase demands that we ignore, dismiss, and invalidate our own realities and the realities of others, then what are we really giving up just to keep that illusion going? It's something to chew on, you know? Especially the next time someone tells you to just look on the bright side.